Yo, okay. So we are going to be looking at the Primarchs. We're going to be looking at all 18 of these lovely dead and alive known Primarchs. We're going to be looking at them and judging them horribly. We're going to be judging them. A couple things before we get started. I am new to Warhammer. I've only in the past like 2 months started to get into it. It's not necessarily something that I've been like, in tune with for a long time. And, in my ripe old age of 19 years old, I've only recently started to get into stuff like that, into like stuff with a lot of lore. Warhammer has a lot of that. So we're going to be looking at the 18 Primarchs and judging them based on how much that I personally like them. This is a completely opinion-based tier list. So I say let's hop right into it. Wait, fuck, no, let's not hop right into it. I have a bias, okay? Newsflash, I have a bias. I have a bias towards loyalist Primarchs. I like loyalist legions a lot because I just think retaining your humanity in the face of greater evils is one of the coolest things that you can do. So I don't really like the traitor Primarchs that much. I think they're kind of losers. I'll fucking get to Lorgar. I'll get to him. There's only one Primarch going in the F tier, and I bet you can fucking guess who that's gonna be. I bet you can fucking guess who that's gonna be. Let's get started. There are exceptions to the rule of the traitor Primarchs, by the way. I do like some of them. I think some of them are kind of cool. But generally speaking, as a whole, traitor Primarchs are pretty cowardly. But let's get right into it. Let's start with Fulgrim. I'm not sold on him. Him as a loyalist Primarch, he was a perfectionist. He was a perfectionist. He was an absolute tool. And he had the worst daddy issues of anyone that I've ever seen. So this guy is going into D tier. Fulgrim, you can go fuck yourselves. You are one of the weakest Primarchs. You are one of the weakest Primarchs in the 30k setting, and it took you turning into a fucking demon for you to be able to do anything. So he goes straight into the D tier. Moving on, we are gonna wait with Perturabo. We're gonna wait on that guy because I have a couple things to say. Sanguinius S tier next. Lionel Johnson. So I said that there are exceptions to my rule with the loyalist traitor Primarchs and how biased I am with them. And Lionel Johnson is one of those. I'm not sold on the Lion. Okay, I'm not sold on the Lion. He just seems to me to be the pettiest piece of shit, the second pettiest piece of shit. But Lionel Johnson, he gets so much credit, and he's often called like the best Primarch with the best Legion, and the Dark Angels are cool as shit. Knights in Space, are you fucking kidding me? Chat, are we lying? Are we lying? He is just he is not a good reflection of those Astartes. He is just distrustful. I don't like that. He's just very distrustful. I don't enjoy that. It would be me lying if I said that he belonged anywhere lower than a B tier. He is a great Primarch. I feel like people would be very upset with me saying that, but I would be lying if I said that I gave a single shit about that. Perturabo, the Lord of Iron, or fucking whatever he calls himself. I love Perturabo. I think he's so fucking good at his job that he got sidelined repeatedly, even though the things that he got sidelined for wouldn't have done shit without him. I mean, Perturabo was so goddamn competent at his job that he was benched so that he couldn't be stronger. Yeah, that happened to him by his dad, the emperor of mankind, and also Horus during the heresy. So Perturabo, in terms of skill, in terms of competence, in terms of how good he is at what he's supposed to be doing, S tier. But let's talk about his personality. Perturabo is the most vindictive, brutal, petty, and bitter living being that I've ever seen in science fiction. The pettiest living being that I've ever seen, which I think is extremely endearing. Easily goes above Sanguinius for me. He might be at the top. I haven't decided yet, although we have a couple contenders. He's just so fucking cool. The iron armor, the pattern, the iron pattern, Mark III for the fucking, let me look it up. This? Are you kidding me? That looks cool as shit. I have a natural affinity for things that look and are tanky. And of course, with Perturabo, Siege is the name of the game. Rogel Dorn. Rogel Dorn was what I imagine the personality of a plastic chair is, but I like him. I like him because of it. He is constantly doing what is best for the Imperium. The Phalanx, the Iron Fists, or whatever they're called, Imperial Fists, I think. I can't remember the name of his legion. Cool as shit. The Phalanx, their home world is awesome. You know, the largest ship in the setting. It's the size of a moon. Listen, Rogel Dorn is one of the best Primarchs for sure. When Big E asks you himself to guard the home world, when he asks you to fortify it and make it safe because he trusts your skill enough to do that, yeah, that guy is going to be fucking sick. So Rogel Dorn, easily at least A tier. I'll put him in A. He is representative of something that I really like. I like it when a character has a pretty good sense of duty. And I'm not talking poop, just like loyalty and fealty to a cause. And especially when you face down, I think, 9 legions of freaks and demigods, when you can do that without batting an eye, you're cool as shit. Rogel Dorn easily gets A tier for me. And now we move into where I have problems, because Ferrus Manus, let's talk about Ferrus Manus. If we're talking about physical strength, Ferrus Manus is the strongest Primarch physically. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. I think that is something that people don't necessarily give him much credit for. Dude was a beast. In most fights, 1v1 against a non-demon Primarch, this dude wins. If Fulgrim hadn't been a 4-armed demigod serpent fucking sorcerer creature, Ferrus would have whooped his ass. Respectfully, he would have whooped his shit. But at the same time, he wasn't that great of a leader, relatively speaking, to the other great leaders of that his brothers are and were. And there isn't that much lore on him, which I would like for that to be expanded upon. I'd like for there to be more Ferrus Manus lore, because I think that is a really cool topic. And I think that he is a really cool idea. And I'd like to see that get expanded a little bit more. And I haven't read all the source material, of course. I haven't read everything that I should read. I haven't read any of the books, but I have done a good amount of research, watched a bunch of lore YouTube videos to go to sleep. And I just think more could be done. So for that reason, I'm going to put Ferrus Manus as our first C tier Primarch, not because I don't like him, but because I just don't know enough. And that's partially, of course, my own fault, but also I think just a lack of source material. But anyway, we're going to move on to Angron. Angron, yes. Okay, Angron. I don't like him. I just think he's just like a fucking bad guy. I think he was a horrible Primarch, just comparatively speaking to the rest of his brothers, who were pretty bad in their own respect. Angron had a tough childhood. He like had these butcher's nails, I think they're called, the butcher's nails, like implanted into his skull, so that if he felt anything other than intense anger, he would feel nothing but pain. His fucking bright idea was to put those nails that have made his life a living hell into every single one of his Space Marines. And you know what that causes? You know what, of course, that causes? Just infinite rage. And they all hate him. So for that reason, Angron goes in E tier, which actually, I'll put him in D tier. He's not worse than Fulgrim. Fulgrim is worse than Angron. It is cool. It is cool to have like a giant fucking guy fueled by rage tear fucking Titan, a Warhound Titan in half or whatever he did. It is incredibly cool that is a thing. And, you know, having a bunch of blood crazed maniacs being put in power armor with 2 hearts and fucking 8 brains and 16 lungs or whatever, that is cool as shit. Nobody's denying that. But how effective is that on an actual battlefield? Like, the Emperor wanted his Primarchs to not just be warriors. He wanted them to be leaders as well. How well does a leader like that work? Because the Butcher's Nails, they could never come out. He could never have been freed from that pain. They were too far in his brain. It would have killed him. What is the end game? I just don't understand why we even keep that guy around. Whatever. Angron, D tier, just above Fulgrim. Fuck Fulgrim. It's Lorgar time. I don't think you'll find a single person that hates Lorgar as much as I do. Let's talk about the Horus Heresy. In terms of like literature, masterpiece. In terms of writing and exposition and storytelling, because we couldn't just have the Primarchs being Primarchs forever. Of course, something had to go wrong. Everything always goes wrong. I need to drink my water. However, I think that is such a load of horse shit how it started. The Horus Heresy started very badly. Whatever the guy's name was that got in Lorgar's ear after fucking whatever their holy city was, after that burned, after Monarchia burned, whoever got in Lorgar's ear about, hey, there are these 4 guys that really hate everything and I think we should worship them. That guy needs to fucking die. I don't remember his name. I remember like details about him. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. All I'm saying is that what Lorgar did was gay. Who he was, pretty gay. Because like when your entire shtick is that you have to be a subservient creature to somebody, and you're like a fucking 9-foot tall demigod with crazy mutant laser eye powers or whatever he had, I don't really give a shit. When that is your whole thing, gay. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. It just literally is homosexual. Like it's just he's worshiping a man. He just wants the Emperor's cum. He just wants his splooge. He just wants it all over him. He wants to oil up and grease up his naked, dumb body and just be fucked relentlessly in the ass. And then when the Emperor doesn't like that he's being so gay about it, he goes and worships the 4 fucking stinky pleasure rage smart gods. I mean, what's this guy's problem? Surely, I mean, what's his deal? What's his shtick? I think there's like a lot of like really cool horror elements in that. And what's the end goal with that guy? Preach the Imperial Creed? He's going to try to distribute the Emperor's seed. That's what he wants to do. Fucking Lorgar. I mean, it's obvious. Lorgar goes at fucking F. Nobody's below Lorgar. I fucking hate Lorgar. Let's move on. Ooh. Altharius. Altharius is truly one of the most confusing Primarchs. There is not much known about Altharius or Omegon, I guess. I think Omegon is just like another part of Altharius's like image and personality, but of course we won't ever fucking know because Games Workshop is like we gotta keep it a secret so that the fans don't know, so it's more marketable. Oh, keep the 2nd and 11th a fucking secret, I swear to God. And it's annoying. It's I don't know. More needs to be explored on Alfarius. Not much is known about his motives because of that. Because there's not much source material. I know there's a new book that just came out, but I haven't read it. I'm not gonna. But I'm gonna put him at like at C tier. He's kind of cool. He's below Ferris though. Ooh, Conrad Kurz, super depression and a demigod. Like, let's do that, folks. Let's have a demigod be really depressed that he's a demigod and kill himself to fucking prove a point. I think the Night Lords are cool. However, I think that Conrad Kurz is not the cool part about the Night Lords. I think the fact that the Night Lords are stealthy and pieces of shit that makes them cool. I don't think Kurz is very cool at all because he's not really involved that much. He fucking hates his Legion. And if we saw Kurz like lean into it a little bit more, that would be cool. But it's not. He isn't that. And you know, no thanks. So for that reason, I'm gonna keep it short. Fucking Conrad Kurz goes in D tier. He's below Fulgrim. But now we're gonna take a look at Leman Russ. Wow. Congrats. Talk about a guy who every like half of the lore that exists is either about Gilliman or Russ. And this guy has way too much lore written on him. I listen, Space Wolves in space is a cool thing. But I don't care. And also Leman Russ is weird. It's just weird. He's a barbarian, you know, he's the Emperor's executioner, but he didn't execute when the Emperor really needed him to. And now he's lost and he's gonna return for the wolf time. What is this shit with the wolves? All right, why the wolves? B tier. He's up there with Lion. He's a great Primarch, but I just don't personally connect with him that much. The same thing with the Khan. I mean, he's cool. I mean, the fucking White Scars are cool, but it just doesn't connect with me. He doesn't have enough lore written on him. I feel like, you know, it's there's a problem with GW and having favoritism for certain Primarchs. I don't know. Khan also goes into B tier. Editing J here. Don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about. I did a little bit of research for this video, but not nearly enough. I completely missed the point of the Khan, which was that there wasn't supposed to be much source material. That's kind of his thing, kind of the gist of him. So sorry about that. The Khan should be closer to probably, I'd put him in A tier for sure. So ignore that entire rant. The point of the Khan is to be not that well known. Same kind of with Alfarius, but for different reasons. So anyway, moving on. Rabute Gilliman is really good at his job. He never claims to be anything more than he is. He's not a god. People worship him as the Lord Commander, which he is. He is the Lord Commander in title, but he doesn't feel up to that task. And I respect that. I respect that he feels that way, but ultimately, dude, fucking, you gotta step up. And so Rabute Gilliman is kind of a pussy, but his whole shtick is like supply lines and yada yada yada, and you know, he's the multi-tool jack of all trades. Kind of boring, but you know, he's an excellent Primarch, probably better in my opinion than the Lion or Russ or Khan. So I'll put him up in A tier, but he's below Dorn because I just don't like him as much as Dorn. Oh, Mortarion. I don't know much about Mortarion. I really don't. You know, there's not much lore written on him. You know, he grew up on fucking chemos, or no, that wasn't him. Whoever it was, Mortarion had one of the worst childhoods. So that kind of gave him daddy issues because, you know, he hated his dad because his dad was a tyrant and was like a warlord and shit. And it was just, he's constantly like connected to a respirator or whatever. The Death Guard are cool as shit. Again, I love a tanky unit, and Mortarion is not that. He is not that, but his Legion is. And Typhus made that happen. I don't like Typhus. I think what he did is heartbreaking. But Mortarion, he's just like not that effective. He doesn't really fucking do anything. And of course, Caldor Drago on his great crusade through the warp, horribly written and projected by whoever that author was. But Caldor Drago fucking carves his name into Mortarion's heart. Mortarion, put him in C tier. I'll put him right next to Alfarius. He's cool or whatever, but you know, Corvus Corax, kind of the exact same thing for me. Like I do think him right now in the current setting is that bird demon going around and killing Lorgar over and over again, and I do really like that. I think that is awesome, and you know, he's like the unsung hero right now because he's keeping the word bearers in check. Because the word bearers are chaos undivided, and Lorgar is powerful. He's chaos undivided, but he keeps getting fucking smacked by a bird guy by the name of Corvus Corax, and also the Raven Guard like created the Carcharodons, which are my favorite Space Marine chapter. I like the Raven Guard. I like Corvus Corax. He's just very solid. So for me, I put Corvus up there. He's next to Gilliman. He's next to Gilliman for me. Horus Lupercal, the man himself, the Horus Heresy's big daddy. He's got to be S tier. I'm sorry for those confused. Horus, no, he's A tier, high A tier though. He's not S tier, but he was like the guy. He killed Sanguinius, killed him dead, before getting psychically annihilated by the Emperor, who was the only living being who could do that. That's how strong this guy was. He happened to be in the same room as the only guy who could annihilate him. When you are as strong as the most powerful of your species ever, holy shit, that guy's overpowered as hell. So Horus, remarkably easy A tier. Vulcan time. Vulcan, S tier, probably above even Perturabo for me. I love Vulcan so much. He's so lovable. He's a perpetual, which is really cool. He's a fucking tank. He's the biggest Primarch. Fuck you, Magnus. You're projecting. Vulcan is just, he's so great. I love him. And you know, he's one of those Primarchs where like somebody will, like, if you ask somebody their favorite Primarch and they're like, oh, it's Vulcan, you don't have to ask any questions. You just know why. And you also know that person is probably just a pretty chill person. So I love Vulcan. He's easily in the top spot for me. Magnus gets E tier. He did everything wrong. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Yeah, there's my tier list. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty good spread. I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with my B tier. My entire B tier it's probably going to be very controversial. But at the same time, I don't give a shit. So literally eat my ass, actually. This has been Big J. Get out.